Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
What's up, Josh?
What's up, man?
Back home?
Back home today. You guys are home, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think you earned the title of the longest national.
Well, I think you can only qualify for that if you stay in AC.
Yeah, we were the longest in the AC.
That's not something to be proud of.
Why not?
Because that place is a shithole.
I think you might be the only one still that spoke positively about it.
Yeah, I tried to should be a room balance.
Yeah, well, sometimes you just gotta know when to quit.
All right, well, let me welcome everybody to the crossover on this Friday, August 12th, a day of injuries and PED controversies. And a great day for Joe Flacco collectors.
All four of them.
So, first of all, now that you're back, you got to have some mail days, don't you?
Yeah.
Let's go. I have some too, so I don't know. Do you want to go first or you want to go second?
I'll go first. You have a bigger one than me.
Okay.
That's what she said. Yes. So first, just I got the grade while at National, PSA. Same day grade, PSA 6. I thought it was an 8, but that's how it goes at PSA sometimes. You get 6s when you think you get an 8. But still happy with that one. So glad to have that slabbed and authenticated. And then the 2 Fitzgerald pickups. This sleeve is gross. Shield, 1 of 1. National Treasures. Yeah. I don't know a ton about shields in football. I just know that they're, quite a bit more difficult to get a hold of game-worn shields than it is Logo Man because they have less games. And that's my shield job for shields.
Nice. Well done.
Then rookie finest gold refractor. So this is kind of like the equivalent of my LeBron 03 finest. So this is one of the better looking ones, I think. And these are numbered to 50.
That's great.
That's it.
That's plenty. Nice. Very nice. All right. I've got 3 as well. The first one is from my incoming PSA orders that are coming back to me. This is a 1999 Upper Deck now showing Allen Iverson, number 200. Bought this for just a few bucks at a local card shop 2 years ago. It was just sitting in a dollar box and got a PSA 9. So I'm very happy about it. Also, I'd like to send a shout out to PSA and to SoCal Sports Cards 10 for getting back to us, myself, Stiff Arm Wax, and Cold Holds, our PSA order. It's not completely back, but we've got hundreds of the cards back so far. We're still waiting on a few more. And we were able to give Cold Holds all 111 or so of his Kobe's and stuff last night. And then he went and loaded them all into his card ladder collection. And then he made his PTR on Clubhouse, just the card ladder collection line just going straight up as his collection value skyrocketed when he added all of his. I mean, he got back stacks of PSA 10 Kobe rookies. It was really great.
Oh, that's great. Was he excited? But what was his reaction to seeing the graded cards?
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. We went through all 111 cards together. So
nice.
It was great. All right. Next card is the 2013 Contenders Championship tickets. Le'Veon Bell, 1 of 1. So,
was that a second year?
First year. This is his rookie.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the equivalent of your Contenders McCaffrey?
That's right.
But this one, there's only the one, right? He doesn't have a...
Nope, there's 2. There's a variation as well. So, but yeah, this is a very pleasing card to add to the collection.
Is that the A or B?
B. This is
my
221B.
That's my favorite year of Contenders.
Nice. Yeah. Very pleased with that one. Really nice looking card. Something about the Steelers jersey just looks nice against a lot of card backdrops. And then the final card I'll show for my mail days is the 2019 Prism Black, 2-time MVP, flabby, ball of grease, Nikola Jokic. So,
wow. Monster.
Shout out to Nuggets Collector for selling me that. And congrats to him on graduating from college and moving on in life. And so now I have these two paired together, the rookie Prism Black Jokic and the 2019. That's 2 of the 7 Jokic Prism Blacks for you.
Need the other 5.
I don't know, but I hope they can start finding me.
Can you turn your volume down? I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Yes. All right, how about now? Test.
Well, congrats, man. I know the blacks are big for you, and now you need a Luka black, I feel.
I do have one Luka Prism Black. It's an insert.
A Prism black, I mean.
It is, but it's from an insert set. Hold on. It's from his second year. Bought it right when it came out. This card here.
We actually met the designer of that card.
Yeah, we did. That's the only
Cool.
it's the only Prism Black Luka we have. I mean, I'd obviously love to get a true base Prism Black Luka, but I just those are I think I'm priced out.
Well, you do have a lot of Luka 101s though, right? You guys have like 6 or 7 of them?
Yep. They're cool. They are neat. Okay. Announcements. Otherwise, the 4th episode of the 5-part Card Ladder series on the National 2022 in Atlantic City has come out.
Nice.
And there's only one left. So if you want to check it out, go over to the Card Ladder YouTube channel and check it out. It's a great episode. Lots of cool cards get shown. And okay, that's about it content-wise, Card Ladder-wise. You have any updates to discuss this week?
No, it's nice to see Nick get his deserved praise the last couple of weeks for all those videos because they're obviously very, very good. And I mean, the editing, the production value, even like his intros where he's on the basketball court, like he's obviously like, got some skills on camera as well. So shout out to Nick for all his hard work, and it's nice to see people recognize him for that.
Definitely. Well, our first comment comes from mostly 90s basketball cards, and he says Stiff Arm Wax, that's Nick, is an on-screen star and should have his own show on Friday nights. So I don't know. I don't want any competition from Stiff Arm Wax.
We've got the
that crossover. It should be me and Stiff just making fun of.
Look how she just works away. Oh, you guys just watch our show and then give commentary on it?
So we've got Frasier, which is a spinoff. We've got, but I just finished Better Call Saul. Well, there's one more. I'm watching Better Call Saul spinoff. I think Nick needs a spinoff, a crossover.
And it will be better than the original, like Frasier was versus Cheers.
Yeah. Yes, crossover and spinoff.
the spinoff, the spin move. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Ricky Puyito would like to know: will you guys be attending the Burbank Card Show at the end of the month? Josh, are you going out to Southern California for that show?
I'm not sure, but I don't need to really plan much ahead because it'd be a short drive for me.
Right, which is nice. So let me just see if I can find a little poster for this show. I believe it's August 28th in the Los Angeles area. Yeah, okay. Well, I just found this promo graphic for it. The Burbank Card Show is in 24. Well, this is from a while ago, but it's August 26th to 28th. You need 2 weeks away. You need tickets from BurbankCardShow.com. You need tickets to go. So, yeah, their PSA, I believe, will be on site doing take-home orders. So, Christina and I will not be there for good reason that we'll hopefully be able to announce next week.
Yeah.
Next week. All right. First topic of the day involves BBCE.
Oh, God.
And I'm talking about baseball card exchange, not whatever else you perverts think that stands for. So, first up, look, this scandal, I haven't paid a lot of attention to it. So let's just put that out there first. Have you been following it pretty closely?
No, I just know, I don't know the details about the Whatnot part of it. People were telling me that Whatnot was kind of like using that for their marketing and to pay for a lot of stuff at National. So I don't know like the Whatnot side of it. And I also don't know the side of like the people opening the boxes.
Got you. The chat is going crazy with the "we all got duped." So
Yeah.
one of the greatest memes in hobby history. All right, so here's what I want to do, man. I just want to read the questions in the comments to give them a platform so that they can be heard, and then to the extent that we can provide commentary on it, we will.
Yeah.
So Spurs Cards 21 says, "I'm sure it's been said, but do you have any thoughts on the fake 1986 Fleer box at the National?" Miami Cars 84 says, "What are your thoughts on BBCE's credibility going forward after his 1986-87 Fleer box collation issue?" Staggered Dagger says, "The fraud box of 1986 Fleer at the National. How is this type of BS even legal?" And Bruin Killer says, "Is the hobby ripe for regulation? How many more scandals or scams can it take?" Okay, so everybody is firing from the same side on this one. And I think people definitely have a right to be upset. My understanding of what happened was a BBCE sealed box of 1986 Fleer basketball contained packs that were way off from how these packs are known to be collated. So, for example, one of the packs, perhaps as a tribute to you, had all the Johnsons in it. So,
Was the scam that there was less Jordans? Like there weren't Jordans in it?
I don't know how many Jordans came out of this box. I think at least two came out of the box.
Someone like opened the packs and then like moved the cards around in alphabetical order, right?
I think that's what people are suspecting. I do know that Steve Hart has issued a statement, and his statement was basically that this was a mistake in collation, but it can happen, and that he stands by the authentication.
Whoa.
Now, the thing about 86 Fleer boxes, and I'm not sure how widely known this is, 86 Fleer boxes were not sealed.
Right.
The cases were sealed. The boxes were not. And so anytime you have an 86 Fleer box, there's always a chance that packs were mixed and matched, were moved around, or somebody just found an empty box, collected 36 packs from random places, and stuffed them into the box. And so part of the service that BBCE provides is that they take these packs, they look through the back side, which is translucent, they see what cards show up on the back side of the packs, and then because the collation of these packs is predictable and known, when I say that, I mean if you know what cards in the back, you have a good idea of what the other cards are in the rest of the pack. Remember,
Right.
we are talking about products from the mid 1980s. We're talking about the first Fleer basketball release in many years when you talk about 1986 Fleer. So the part of BBCE's job is they will look at the contents of the box, they'll look at the contents of the packs, and they'll estimate, here's how many Jordans are in here, here's how many stickers you can expect to be in here, here's how many of the different key players you can expect to be in this box. And they typically indicate if the box has something that's resembling what it ought to have, or they'll indicate if this box is a hodgepodge, a blend of random packs. So, it's a little more nuanced and complicated than just, the box is authentic or it's not. None of these boxes were sealed. Let me pause for a second here. What do you think about that?
I really don't know like much about this area, so I don't want to make too many opinions, but like, wouldn't it be easier to authenticate something if you're able to basically open it up and look around and poke around?
Yeah.
So it should be, and BBCE authenticates packs for PSA, so he knows how to authenticate packs, right? So he's opened this box up, he's able to look at the packs, he knows what he's looking for, and now he's still standing by it? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it's like the only box ever that's in alphabetical order. That's just by bad luck. I don't think so.
That is literally what he said. He said this was just a freakish incident. So, all right. JC2 Collect says, what are your thoughts about Whatnot's 1986 Fleer box break, in particular about the influencers who were there at the break and who did not call out the alphabetical ordering of the cards as a problem, given the known pattern of the packs? And we know that Card Porn made a post about this where, because Card Porn and Drake were on site with Ken Golden breaking a box of 1986 Fleer a few months ago. And Drake and Card Porn both, were knowledgeable about the order in which the cards were supposed to come out of the packs. And they were able to predict that a Jordan was coming. So what do you think about this? Should we be hypercritical of influencers who were not knowledgeable or chose not to call out something that looks suspicious on stage?
Well, I don't know if we should be critical of the actual influencers themselves, but this is kind of what we get. This is what the hobby deserves. When we put these influencers and all this hype on a pedestal of this is what we need to move forward, this is what happens. This is now we've made our bed, now we got to sleep in it. This is the hobby's been begging for all these famous people to come in, influencers, to push 86 Fleer boxes, which by the way is the most boring box of all time to open because you know what's in it. There's no mystery whatsoever. And this is what we get, right? We look like idiots now. Our whole hobby is just we can't even freaking open boxes anymore on stage without it being a total disaster.
Yeah, for sure. Look, isn't this part of the DNA of the hobby? Isn't this part of our genetic makeup? Is that we are hypercritical. We demand a very high level, and we enjoy, in some dark, twisted sense, when things
failure
go to shit. Isn't that true?
I mean, dude, that's have you ever watched the news or the media? It's all just negative, shit. So it's not just us that likes to watch the train wrecks.
True. So look, I mean, but people also, when there's so much money on the line here, I mean, these boxes are worth six figures. I think the last sold of these boxes are in that range. So look, I mean, this brings to light questions about authentication. So actually that feeds nicely into the next question from the great Vinny Slabarino, who says, and I've edited this question for concision, with the exception of PSA slabs, most card and wax authenticators take a, quote, sucks to be you approach and offer no guarantees. My question is, as pricing gurus, how would you price the risk that a certified wax box is actually filled with rocks or, G.I. Joe packs or something? How would you actually factor that risk into its price, what kind of data would you want to see, and how would you use it?
Well, we can't like put that into the pricing at all, right? Like you can't like you can't reasonably say like it reduces the value by X% without like having the data of what percentage of them are fake. So we just can't in good conscience like come up with that math on our own. This does bring into question though, and probably makes people nervous that are like, wax collectors, especially like this older vintage wax stuff. Like, what are the chances you've got a fake box of wax, right? It would probably make me a little nervous as to someone that would collect wax.
Fair. These are not the first time that these issues have come to the fore, but it is a lot of people's first time thinking about it in the hobby or in a public sense. But I mean, I have to imagine that one of the reasons why Steve Hart and BBCE issue a document along with the authenticated box that states what its contents are. Here's how many Jordans you can expect. Here's how many Kareem stickers you can expect. One of the reasons why that practice developed most likely is because of what Vinny Slabarino is getting at here. How much information and data would you want to know about a 1986 BBCE sealed box? And one of the things that's supposed to come along with these boxes is documentation of what's in it. And if you look at like Golden auctions, PWCC auctions, Heritage auctions that feature these 1986 Fleer boxes, if you actually read the item description that's provided by the auction house, they'll give you the details in most instances of what is likely to be inside this box. They'll tell you how many Jordans you can expect, how many Jordan stickers you can expect, all the key cards. They'll give you an indication of how many you can expect. And that makes tracking price of these boxes difficult. And that's why I've thought about this before, is because not all of these boxes are truly identical. Some of the sealed boxes are likely to have more Jordan rookies than others, for example. So it makes it tough to track these boxes because these boxes they can vary and still be authentic. But,
do you remember when we read the BBCE verbiage on one of the crossovers after the Pokemon scandal? Do you remember what it said?
No, I do not.
I mean, it basically said like we're not liable for like if something goes wrong, we're not responsible for, like, basically they're not doing what PSA does. They're not giving you your money back.
Yep. Yeah, that's another part of this thing too, is that dude, the level of expertise that's needed to authenticate these items is very rare to find. Very, very few people have it. I certainly don't have it. And I think people who are in the hobby, demand that we have authenticators who will put their money where their mouth is when it comes to authenticating items. But it gets a little bit tricky when maybe one of these boxes was authenticated when it was worth 10% or 5% of what it's worth today.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden the stakes are different. It's a mess. It's a mess. And there's probably opportunity right now in the authentication of wax. There's probably a ripe opportunity right now to develop new practices, to develop a new level of confidence in these procedures, and to develop buyback and guarantee programs so that if people want to get their wax authenticated on the same level of guarantee that PSA grades and authenticates cards with the buyback program, that option is available to people. I think there's an opportunity there right now.
Which would greatly increase the price of authenticating wax.
Yes, it would. And that's part of that. You can't have one without the other. You're not going to be able to pay a few $100 to get a 6-figure item authenticated and expect there to be a guarantee and buyback with it. That's the math doesn't check out. Final comments on this topic from Adam McManey. He says, "Are BBCE wrapped 1986 Fleer basketball boxes a buy?" Okay,
Buy the dip. Buy the dip.
Thank you, Adam. Still, if I may, 1986 Fleer boxes are still, incredibly iconic, incredibly important to the hobby, and they matter a lot. So it's really important that we get this right, and that authenticators step up. And there's two battles going on right now. There's the battle of authentication itself, and then there's the battle of messaging, and the battle of public relations and confidence, and knowing whether or not it's time to push reset and take a new approach. It's tricky. But I'll tell you this people are very upset about this.
Yeah, I mean, didn't you use that box in reference to showing how much the hobby's grown, comparing it to Microsoft stock?
Yep.
Like that piece is a staple in the hobby in terms of determining the value of the growth of the hobby over the years, because that box used to be super cheap, right? It was just like a box of base cards that kids would collect, and now all of a sudden it's this huge investable item that people want to own, and it's been increasing in value exponentially over the years. So you're right, this is important.
Well, and there are contemporaneous reports from the time when the box was issued in 1986, that the boxes were available for $5 or less. I believe the MSRP was $10 for the 36-pack box, but they could be had for $5. I mean, they just sat on store shelves. And the last recorded sale of a box was with Golden a few days ago, last weekend, $144,000.
Jeez. I mean, the part that really sucks is that a lot of these boxes that are authenticated are in BBCE wrapped, deals right now. And that's kind of like the standard for buying one of those boxes. So like we can't really undo all of that necessarily. It's messy.
Yep. Hey, Christina.
Yeah?
Cardporn would like to know, did you enjoy opening the box that you opened of 1986 Fleer for women in the hobby? It looks like you lucked out on that one because it did have the correct sequence.
So, I didn't actually open those packs, but Josh opened a quarter of those packs.
You did, Josh?
Yeah, way to watch the shit that Josh and I do without you. Nice, Boj. Nice.
I was sick. I was laid out in bed on an IV. I basically should have been on an IV.
You could have had it on your phone while you were in bed.
I was unable to be conscious.
Yeah,
that's weird, because I heard that you had like cucumbers over your eyes. You had the robe from the hotel on. You had pay-per-view playing, room service.
Cucumbers weren't only over my eyes.
Fun.
Like,
whoa.
Maybe I do need some beers.
There's time and the place.
Anyway, let's not bury the lead.
No, yeah.
Come talk to the camera.
No, thank you.
Oh my
god. You need to ask Josh's question, is what I'm saying. He's the one who opened the pack.
Yeah.
I'm honored to have been a part of it.
You documented it.
Yes.
You documented it. Okay.
They were in an order. I don't know anything about this order thing. I don't know anything about that. I just know that we only pulled 2 Jordans, and I thought that was bad.
So you're one of these influencers.
Dude, I couldn't have cared less about, like, being in the moment of opening those packs. No offense, but not my thing. It was cool to be on stage, and it was cool to like open them with Sam, and I don't know, man. No thanks.
As they say, you took one for the team.
Yeah. Like, the packs are weird. The gum is gross. The cards are plain.
Oh, okay. All right. Look, 1986 Fleer is having a hard enough week as it is. All right.
You asked my opinion.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Don't ask me if you don't want to hear that I think those cards are boring.
All right. But, we'll see how the boxes do in the future. But, yeah, $144K for the last one of those boxes.
Was it a BBCE wrap?
Yep. These are BBCE sealed.
Yeah.
And, especially with how tough it is to grade these cards. Like, I believe from the Drake break, the Jordans got, like, PSA 7s. Or, These are much better to keep. I don't know why you would open these. I would keep the box.
That's the mystery of these boxes. Or like, I was saying that it's not any fun because you know what's in them, but you don't know if they're centered or not, or if they have like frayed on the left. Like you open it and you're like, this one's pretty good. You try to talk yourself into it because you just spent 150 grand.
Oh, no, thank you. All right. Next topic we have is the issuance of 1099s and auction houses.
Here we go again.
Just
give the planes. I just need to have a piece of paper with the response to this written down. It's like it's the same thing every time. Pay your taxes. Do you actually think that before this 1099 thing that Golden announced that you were somehow off the hook for doing your taxes? No. Ever since the hobby started, you had to do your taxes. Like this is how it goes. This isn't like a new thing that's like, oh my God, now I got to pay my taxes because Golden's sending 1099. No.
Bingo. Well, okay, but so there are implications to this policy, perhaps. So, Cage Lawyer, who, by the way, shout out to Cage, the Lucas Tigers LeBron's podcast, which is available on YouTube and all podcast platforms, and Andrew Goldberg for having us on the show this week. It was a really cool discussion. What's wrong?
Yep. No, I'm just like people in the chat, like, oh, some dealers don't pay taxes. It's like, don't show me this stuff, guys. If you guys are not paying your taxes, like, that's the risk you're willing to take. Good luck, because the penalties are very, very stiff. You're going to your life could be ruined if you're not paying taxes on this stuff. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. The best case scenario is you owe money with interest and penalties and fines.
Dude, isn't the phrase like death and taxes like
the two guarantees?
Yeah, those are the only two guarantees. And then it's like, oh, people want to bring politics into it. That's fine. Then you should move to Canada because the tax system's different there, or move to wherever. If you live in the United States and you're a citizen, you have to pay your taxes. This is fact.
Right.
It's worse. If you don't want to pay your taxes, you should move to like the Cayman Islands or something. Like Canada, they have worse taxes because they have free healthcare and take care of their people.
Yeah, get an accountant, please. Get help if you don't know what you're doing.
Look, taxes aren't all bad either. Like Jose says in the chat, he came into the hobby at the peak, so he actually gets to write off losses.
Yeah. Now, oh yeah, I bet you this year and last year the ones people are going to want to start doing taxes, right?
Yeah, all of a sudden everyone in the hobby's paying taxes or writing them off. Okay. Well, Cage's question is this. With Golden now reporting sales to the IRS, how do you think that will impact the card markets? And Perimeter Collectibles had a similar question. Will these 1099 requirements from auction houses finally be what causes the oversupply of cards to correct?
Didn't we go through this with PayPal? Like that was a much more broad sweep across the hobby of like, oh shit, now PayPal is doing 1099s. So I think that one was probably more impactful than this one. This is just kind of like the next step towards it being that way across the board. So I don't think it's going to change things too much.
I guess people are thinking like, if we do have a world where people who are selling cards through the big auction houses are doing so and not paying taxes, and now they're going to have their profits reported,
they're going to stop sending stuff.
They're going to stop sending cards in.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to buy a card like a couple weeks ago, and the guy was like insisting that I pay in cash, and I like fly out to him and like, bring cash in a duffel bag. And I'm like, I don't think so, buddy. Like this doesn't work like that. Like I need this stuff on paper. I know what you're getting at because you want to avoid the tax man, but don't let me partake in this fun little exercise you got. I've seen Breaking Bad. I do not want to be a part of this.
Fair. So I guess if you believe the premise is true, that many people are selling cards with big auction houses, taking deposits and payments from those auction houses electronically, typically by wire or by bank transfer, and they're not reporting these gains to the IRS, then it would stand to reason that they'll look for other ways to sell those cards. So I think, maybe this is a good test case for that hypothesis. And if we don't see much of a change in supply to auction houses, maybe one of the things it means is that, Lord willing, most people are paying their taxes. I sure hope they are.
Well, let's give some people ideas on other ways to avoid taxes. Step 1, cash deals. Step 2, better call Saul, get a lawyer.
And also, we talk about this once a quarter, maybe once every 6 months, but accountants are surprisingly cheap. You can hire an accountant to do your taxes at the end of the year for a few $100.
You can write it off.
You can write it off as a business expense. It's certainly worth having a tax professional help you. And it's
especially when we're spending, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 figures on our collections, but we want to skimp on the, $1,000 accountant or whatever.
All right. Great. Some dramatic, spicy topics to start off the show.
We got more fired up about that than we did the 86 clear, or I did at least.
Well, the next one here is we've got 2 NBA-related questions that I thought were pretty neat as well. This one from Mike Pinkerton 50. He says, do you think there will be any more big trades in the NBA this offseason?
Man, kind of feels like this Kevin Durant thing is dying down, right?
Yeah, especially after reports came out that Brooklyn was asking for both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in exchange for him.
So it's just like Durant and Marcus Smart hanging out in Boston?
Yeah, which means, in other words, Brooklyn was not serious about the trade.
Right. I was going to say, has Brooklyn ever seen a superstar trade in the past? Do they not know how this works?
Fair question. So
yeah, other than that, we'd just be guessing at trades, everything else is kind of under wraps right now. So that's the only one we're really waiting for.
I need an NBA trade to happen. I need Donovan Mitchell to go somewhere. I need Kevin Durant to go somewhere. I need Kyrie Irving to go somewhere because I need Bill Simmons to come out of podcast retirement.
Well, he came out. He said that he was going to do that regardless. He said that he was going to take a couple months off.
That's unacceptable.
That's what he said, and then he made the one just because of the Bill Russell thing.
I mean, yeah, and that was just like a clip from an old piece of content that he did. Dude, I don't know how long it's been, but, Bill Simmons was 2 hours of mind food Sunday night, Tuesday night, and Thursday night. Those solo Simmons episodes, they're great.
He warned us of this, though. I'm just saying.
He did, but when's he coming back?
He said a couple months. He's like, I'm going to take a couple, and he said, and people, it kind of got to the point where his guests were saying what you're saying, how are people going to survive? And he's like, they'll be fine. I'll come back.
Well, I don't know if we're going to be fine. So,
Clearly.
I need a trade. What, Christina?
I was going to say, it's either, he needs a hiatus because he's, burnt out and, he's enjoying time with his family. His daughter's, getting older, so he probably wants to spend time with her before she goes to college. But, also, it could also be a ploy for him to get more money.
Yeah, these are all excuses, and they don't impact my bottom line.
Well, we all know that.
I'm with you because listening to Econ Talks at night.
That's right. I've shifted to Econ Talk.
Yeah, I feel like we're back in undergrad.
You've been listening to economics podcasts?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Bill! All right, now it's serious, Bill. Come on, Bill.
This is having unintended consequences and ripple effects.
Yikes.
Okay. So I think it'd be weird as hell if Donovan Mitchell didn't move. I think Utah has all the incentive in the world now to be bad. You don't want to be in that middle-class lifestyle if you're an NBA team.
If they keep Mitchell, they'll still be bad. So I don't know what you're saying.
That's true. But they could be worse. They could be worse. But, get a lot
of more minutes.
And Kevin Durant, I've been of the opinion since the beginning that Kevin Durant is not going anywhere. I don't think the Nets want him to go anywhere at this point. And you as a Suns fan and consumer of Suns-related content, the Suns were one of the marquee destinations for Kevin Durant. Do you think he's moving?
No, I don't. I mean, when it was like, peak Suns talk of like, I sort of, was a little bit trying to be a little bit excited about it, trying to be, unbiased, but it was tough. But now that it's kind of died down, I think, looking back, it kind of seems like it's always going to be just him staying in Brooklyn. He signed a 4-year extension. If I was the owner of the Nets, I'd be like, fuck you, man. You just signed a 4-year extension. Get your ass back out there.
True.
What's he going to do, not play? Kevin Durant does not seem like the kind of guy that would pull a Ben Simmons. He just doesn't.
No, right. Fair. Agreed. And is Donovan Mitchell even considered a big trade if he does move teams? Is he moving the needle?
Yeah, I think so. Especially if he went to like the Knicks or something. That's a big move.
So the Knicks can go from being a 10 seed to a 9 seed?
I mean, are we both just going to pile on to the Donovan Mitchell stuff? Let's do it.
Yes, let's do it. Okay. So look, Mike, to answer the question, I think Donovan Mitchell does relocate. I think that's it.
Do you think he's going to the Knicks?
I don't know if he's going to the Knicks. I'd be surprised just because that was such an obvious first destination for him that if it hasn't happened by now, what could change? Why would it suddenly happen now?
Well, I think seeing that Timberwolves trade, Ainge is probably thinking, I'll just hold out for like that monster trade in the Knicks, or just like, we'll just wait till the season gets close and they get desperate, having Mitchell just sitting there, so both sides are probably playing a little chicken.
Probably. All right. And the other NBA related question that we got was from Mitten State Collector, who says, who are some current NBA players that you see having similar career trajectories to guys like Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, and Stephon Marbury? That is, players who were electric, high-scoring all-stars whose careers ended too soon and without leading their team to a title.
I mean, I've been calling the Westbrook-Iverson comparison for like a year and a half now, haven't I?
Yes, you have.
It's like getting more and more eerily similar because Iverson kind of fell off quick at the end, and Westbrook seems to be doing the same, where it's getting ugly fast. The other one is probably Harden. Harden seems like a guy that could be pretty popular down the road, so one of those 90s guys, because he just had such a unique game. His style was very unique. He has an MVP. He's got all the scoring titles and stuff, and he got so close, but, just didn't work out for him. So Harden could be another one.
Chris, can you do me a favor and just say hi to Adam or something? He's like begging for your attention.
He's trolling. He's trying to see if I'll break. He's trying to mentally distract me, but I am so seasoned. You have to try harder. Bring more goods. He just wants the little giggle.
Who's another one?
Well, I think like South Park said in the chat, this like 99% of the NBA. I mean, okay, look, not 99% of the NBA is not electric, high scoring all stars, but of the category of players who are electric, high scoring all stars, 99% of them, have as their best case scenario Allen Iverson or Tracy McGrady or Stephon Marbury. Very, very few lead teams to championships.
I don't know about Marbury. That's pretty mean, but okay, yeah.
Fair. But, look, and if you go back and look at Tracy McGrady's like advanced analytics, I mean, he led the league in player efficiency rating a few times during the 2000s, at least once. If he was playing in this era, he probably wins an MVP. Iverson, I mean, I rewatched game 1 of the 76ers Lakers NBA Finals not that long ago. And Iverson he put up like 48 points or something absurd in that game. He was such a fun and exciting player to watch. The efficiency stats don't totally capture how dominant he was and how much he forced teams to adjust.
Lillard
is a guy who's absolutely in that category. And look, Lillard has taken the Trailblazers to the playoffs pretty much every year over the last 8 or 9 years. Lillard for sure. And look, like a lot. Look, how about Trae Young? You know, and some of these younger guys who they're young, but like, you know, only one team can win the championship every year. You know,
Doncic.
Luka. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I mean,
this applies to like so many players, man. This applies to
yeah, you could basically just like take the All-Star roster from last year on each side, maybe the last 2 or 3 years, and kind of, you know, summate all the players because you'd be missing Lillard and a couple others. But like, take all those guys, go down the list, and if their name's not LeBron or Curry, it's like, you know, it's tough. Like you said, only one team wins, and if LeBron and Curry keep winning all these titles, which it's like Curry, Giannis, LeBron, Kawhi, LeBron, Curry. It's like it's the same names every year.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. And, you know, it's the same names, but, like, you also have to acknowledge it's team. Like, that's what I love about the Steph Curry revelation. You know, Curry winning 4 NBA titles, but only being the MVP once. And then looking at LeBron. You know, LeBron, when he's got healthy AD, KCP, Caruso, you know, when he's got the role players around him to win, they win titles. When he doesn't, they don't even make the playoffs. You know, like it's a evolution in understanding the sport that I hope the hobby and the public and writers take soon, is that basketball is a team game, but you don't have to give individual players demerits just because their teams aren't as good as other teams.
Baseball's figured this out.
That's coming from a Michael Jordan collector, you know, a guy who I have all the incentive in the world to rank titles highly, but I just don't. Not when I'm evaluating individual talent. And yes, I am just discovering this recently.
Well, baseball's figured this out. Like especially in the hobby, we value Mike Trout. I think he has 1 playoff hit, and Trout is like the most expensive player in the hobby, right? In the hobby that's playing. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like, there's 30 teams and only 1 team wins. We should be giving way more credit to a lot more players, in my opinion, instead of like shitting on everybody who doesn't win a championship. Because it's like, yeah, great. You hate every player then? You hate every All-Star? Like, you could literally go down the line and make a case that like all these guys stink because they're not, you know, the top 5. It's not fair. Are we really going to look back at McGrady and Iverson and Lillard and say they had bad careers? That's silly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's almost as if like there's something bad about being Allen Iverson, and there's not.
So what about Chris Paul? I mean, Chris Paul probably in the same list. It's going to be in the same boat. Chris Paul RPA was ripped open out of an 05 live break, and Sam who ripped it didn't even care. He's like, oh, it's like Chris Paul, you know, who cares? It's like, what the heck? That's like the biggest card you could hit. It's like the best player in that rookie class.
Dude, would you rather have on your resume that you led the NBA in assists for 5 years and that you led the NBA in steals for 6 years, or won NBA title?
I mean, this is like the Robert Horry question, right?
Yes, it is.
Would you rather have Chris Paul's career or Robert Horry?
Yeah, this is such an obvious topic. I would much rather have the Chris Paul resume of leading the NBA in assists for 5 seasons and leading it in steals for 6 than have a title. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I feel like that way, especially in today's game when, you know, like, let's be honest, the guys are mostly after the money today. Like, they're mostly chasing that huge contract. And so when guys are focused on that, they're even less focused on titles than they were, you know, in the 90s and 80s. Like, it's even more hyper focused on like your individuality and how good you are, your social media following, your money and stuff like that. So I don't know. It seems like it's trending that way over time. People are getting smarter about it. The advanced analytics maybe are shedding some light on it, to your point. So we'll see.
Definitely. Well, yeah, and like that's the thing about a guy like McGrady in particular, is that his statistics are underrated because at the time people were not nearly as focused on statistical achievements. But yeah, you know, I'm quite sure I just want to verify this so I'm not putting fake information into the collector community, but I'm pretty sure Tracy McGrady led the league in player efficiency rating during the 2000s, which is super impressive.
Dude, he was awesome. Those first couple years with the Magic, he was amazing.
Yes, he
Dude, there's a famous quote from Kobe Bryant who basically says like Tracy McGrady was his biggest like rival at that time, right? The biggest player, that hardest for him to guard, the best like one-on-one opponent that he had back in that day. That's a pretty famous quote from Kobe.
Indeed. Okay, and I was giving false information. All right, here's McGrady's PER rankings. Here's all the times he finished in the top 5. In 2001, he finished second to Shaq. In 2002, he finished third behind Duncan and Shaq. Same thing in 2003. In 2005, he finished fourth behind Yao Ming, Stoudemire, and Paul Pierce. And then in 2008, he finished fourth behind Kobe Bryant, Dirk Nowitzki, and first place was none other than Chris Paul.
Yeah.
And Chris Paul is another guy Chris Paul is the real victim of bad timing. Chris Paul led the NBA in PER. Oh, fuck. I'm sorry. I'm looking at playoffs. Fuck. My bad. I was just giving you guys playoffs. Wow, this is really just spiraling.
Chris Paul's like 12th all-time in PER. People in the chat are nuts. I know you're just trolling me, but...
Okay, let me amend my statement. 2002, Tracy McGrady did, in fact, lead the NBA in PER during the regular season. I was just giving you guys playoffs. I'm going to stop trying to recite statistics now.
Let's go to the next question. We've been beating this topic up.
But this is the problem with off seasons. Off seasons.
Then let's talk about football. We got football topics.
Not a single question came in about football, but I'd love to talk about some football.
Well, we have to talk about Zach Wilson, right? That came up just a couple hours ago.
Yes, it did. So what are your thoughts on that?
It's horrible, dude. Like, the hobby and the sport can't afford, like, their top quarterbacks to be getting hurt in the freaking preseason. It's terrible.
Are you of the belief, though, that this injury was going to happen, whether it happened in week 2 or it happened in the preseason?
Like, because he's injury prone or the offensive line sucks? Is that what you're saying?
Or just there was something weak in the ligament?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how that stuff works. I just, like, a freak it seems like it was more of a freak accident, but maybe not, I guess. Could be injury prone.
Yeah. Well, it sucks that he goes down, obviously. From the collector point of view, what do you do now if you've placed some bets on Zach Wilson?
I don't know. I have no idea. It sucks. This has always been the big downside of football for me. It makes it really hard for me to, like, get the love of football that I have for basketball, because these guys just get hurt so freaking much. Like, fantasy football is literally like whose team gets hurt the least. You're the winner. That's how it works. Like, whoever has the most starters at the end of the year, you win fantasy football. And it's almost the same for, like, real football teams. Whoever's quarterback makes it through the season healthy sucks.
There's also Matthew Stafford with a strange elbow injury right now.
Yeah.
PSA published the top 5 graded and shipped cards during the month of July. And I made a little Instagram story post about this. In baseball, there were 2 retired players, Griffey and Jeter, who cracked the top 5, and 3 active players. One of them was Mike Trout. In basketball, you had 2 active and 3 retired. So the retired were Jordan, Kobe, and Shaq, and the active were Ja Morant and LeBron. But in football, the list was entirely concentrated on one position, which is quarterback, and it was entirely comprised of active players. Yeah. And all of them were under the age of like 26 or so, with the exception of Tom Brady. You had Tom Brady, and then you had Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, and there was one other. Tua or something, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're all, yeah.
And so, like, what is this telling us? Like, to me, PSA graded and shipped means this is primarily what dealers and investors and flippers are sending to get graded so they can sell it. And so you see a balance in baseball and in basketball. You have some retired, you have some active, you have all-time greats, you also have prospects. Football was totally concentrated on active quarterbacks, and of them, 4 of the 5 were young quarterbacks who could be defined as prospects, whose career trajectories are in no way, shape, or form solidified. To me, there's something in football, in the football card market, there's a fixation on the quarterback. And I don't even fully understand that, because there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the NFL, but team is so critical. Defense is so critical. They were showing during the 49ers-Packers game tonight, they were showing a replay from their playoffs matchup last year. The Packers were up 10-3 with 4 minutes left in that playoff game. And the Packers stalled on offense. They had a punt out of their end zone. The punt got blocked and ran in for a touchdown. And somehow that means Aaron Rodgers chokes in the playoffs. This is football, man.
You know what it tells me? You know what it tells me? That whole thing is a house of cards. That's like teetering on danger zone of like people are putting $150,000 into Trevor Lawrence, $100,000 into Trey Lance, $150,000, $200,000 into Burrow and Herbert, and it's like, oh my God, this is so risky. Everything is based on all of these guys winning Super Bowl rings, and like 1 or 2 of them will. Like this isn't going to happen. It's not going to work out for all these guys. It's very risky. It's scary. Preseason games, people that are spending 5-6 figures are going down already. Preseason, scary, man.
It's very scary, and the relationship, it's almost like everybody's just taking for granted that there is going to be a new Mahomes.
He still is playing. Fuck, he's like 26. I'm so sick of that. New Mahomes, he already is a Mahomes.
Yes, we already have the Mahomes.
His name is Mahomes.
And there is certainly no guarantee that there's going to be another Mahomes.
I mean, I would argue that Mahomes isn't even Mahomes, though.
Mahomes isn't even Mahomes?
No. Yeah, I don't think Mahomes is that great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like if you think that, Christina, then like all these other guys are like way more risky than any of us ever thought. Because I've been in the last couple of months, I've softened on this quite a bit by saying like, if people want to spend this money, this is the fun for them, this is the risk they want to take. I just kind of have to accept it. But this quarterback thing, the more you talk about it, I'm just like, oh my God, this quarterback thing is scary. Like the Josh Allen market too. I love Josh Allen, but I sure as fuck ain't spending fucking 250, 300 grand on some of these cards, especially like the like non-primary, secondary flawless and immaculate logo shields and stuff. It's like, oh my God.
It's a very scary market. You've got people making bets not just on the Josh Allen, Joe Burrow tier of quarterbacks who have a great skill set but are not MVP and Super Bowl winners like Mahomes was. But then you've got another tier of speculation that involves Tua and Jalen Hurts and Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones. And I mean, like there's speculation going on in every quarterback. Deshaun Watson, who I hear was abysmal today.
And he's a dick in his pregame press conference. He was like, he finally apologized for the first time. Are you fucking serious? He's like, oh, I feel bad for what I did. It's like, yeah, now that you're on the cusp of like having to deal with the suspension coming down from the NFL, now you're sorry. You weren't though before when you didn't think you were getting suspended. What a dick.
Yep. But here's what I think people are thinking when they're spending 60 grand on a Deshaun Watson PSA 10 NTRPA, which did happen about a month ago or so, or 150K on a Black Finite 1/1 Trevor Lawrence PSA 6. What they're thinking is, I love this quarterback, and if he does win a Super Bowl and or MVP, then Mahomes has blazed the path for what these things can be worth.
Yeah.
But the problem is, and like we've been talking about this since 2020, only one quarterback wins, and you have to take out some combination, most likely of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford and all the other great quarterbacks who you will have to face in playoffs. Russell Wilson will likely be there. I mean, or if you're in the AFC, you've got Lamar Jackson. You're just going to go through the youngest MVP in NFL history. There's so many good quarterbacks, and only one can win. Only one will be MVP.
Even this year, the guy who won it, Matthew Stafford, it's well documented that his market went up. But when he won the Super Bowl, it seemed like nobody cared in the card world. It was like, oh, it's almost like there goes one less year for my quarterback to win a championship because Stafford took it this year, Brady took it the year before, Mahomes the year before. It's like, what years are left for my prospect quarterback to win a Super Bowl? Where, it's like, there's only one per year, and some years it gets canceled out by, like you said, the guys that have already won them. Or guys that are like, what if Derek Carr wins the Super Bowl this year? Nobody's going to care because his market is already long past. And he's going to be knocking off another year.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so
Kirk Cousins. What if Kirk Cousins wins the Super Bowl this year? Nick Foles won a fucking Super Bowl, Chris. Nick Foles.
Oh, I remember.
Nobody gives a shit, and he won one. He actually did what you guys want, and these prices are nothing.
Yes, and it's like I love the Matthew Stafford example because it's absolute evidence that the team is so fundamental to how these quarterbacks perform.
What do you mean? He was so good for Detroit.
He was. Aaron Rodgers was like, Matt Stafford was throwing these sidearm on-the-run passes 10 years ago that everybody's so excited about now. But he was never on a great team. So, I think there is some bad reasoning about how important championships in particular are to defining how good a player is. But yeah, I'm with you, man. Even if a Burrow or a Tua or somebody wins this year, it's still almost like there's only a small sliver who are happy about it. The rest are like, okay, let's fast forward to next year. Let's see if my guy can do it.
Right, and it's back to it's like the Trae Young thing in the bubble. It's back to I'm more excited about the prospect of what he could be, and then the win the Super. It's just like playing fantasy football. Nobody cares when you win. You don't give a shit about the people who win. You just want to focus on the next year's draft, right? Another thing I was thinking though, and I said this a couple weeks ago, another big reason that I don't want to go without talking about real quick is a big reason that there's such huge money being dropped on these cards is that they're really cool cards. These modern cards are really neat, and there's really nice looking 101 shields, these black finites are really cool cards, and there's no really cool card like that of John Elway, for example. He just has a plain base rookie card, so it kind of has a lot of momentum, and this is the current product. People are excited about being able to have the best card that comes out this year because you're in the spotlight. You've got the attention on these guys and the cards. So that's probably a bigger driver of the value than we'd like to admit, and it's less than hey, I want to gamble on this guy winning 3 Super Bowls.
Absolutely, and hey, look, if we're taking the other side here and which I think is worth taking up as well. Here's the other thing, man. If you want to. If you're financially able to put $150,000 on a Trevor Lawrence Prism Black Finite PSA 6 rookie, if you're able to do that, I mean, look, man, you're the biggest stakeholder in Trevor Lawrence. That's not somebody who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Like his mom.
Yeah, you basically are an estranged cousin.
Right.
Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you are truly invested in his outcome as a player in a very meaningful way.
Dude, was it last night? I was dude, I really like Trevor Lawrence. I think I would rank him if I was doing a dynasty draft, of redrafting the whole NFL, taking age into account. I'm taking him pretty earlier than you might think because he's young. He's got a lot of talent. He's a good prospect as a quarterback. And then you were like, well, then buy his shield. I'm like, fuck, I'm not that crazy. I draw the line at there. I want to root for him, and I'll draft him on my fantasy team, but I'm not spending $150,000 on the guy.
Well, that's Look, something else here. Let me show the card that I was telling you to buy. Oh my God. It's already at 180 before BP.
Yeah, so yeah, great advice, Hoj.
This is my first ever piece of investment advice and last is that Josh should buy this card.
All because I thought Trevor Lawrence was good. He's like, well, then buy this. I'm like, yeah, sure. Let me just like spend, more than I've ever spent on any LeBron card ever on a Trevor Lawrence. Good thinking.
Only 216 grand, and you can be an honorary member of the Lawrence family.
Oh my God. Why? Like,
Amazing. And like all these Lawrence cards are coming out at the same time. If only one of the Prism Black or the Shield Vertical, and I think you said the Shield Horizontal is in this auction too. If only one of them came out, these would be going for even more. The money's being diluted across all of these.
Unless Trevor Lawrence himself has bid on. But I mean, here's the other thing. It's like we can sit here and be like, wow, there's one crazy person buying all these Trevor. There's multiple people bidding on these cards. There's like tons of people bidding over 100,000.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dude, it's already at like basically $250,000. That's amazing.
Because people are just like, please, let him not get hurt this year. Let him like make the playoffs.
This is such a fascinating topic. I really don't. We think we have an idea of how this plays out. We think that pretty much over time, all but a very small number of these players drop like flies from hobby relevance and culture and sports relevance.
You think it's more? You're saying it's more of a gradual?
Probably, unless there's something that completely prevents the player from even, look, like Sam Darnold's getting multiple shots, lots of Daniel Jones has gotten quite a few shots. Like, there's always going to be hope.
But go look at that. I think the Sam Darnold Shield National Treasures 101 just sold at all. It probably did like 10K or whatever, like.
I think it did 18, I think, is what I've been.
So, yeah, there you go. It's already like 1/10 or whatever of the Lawrence.
Yeah, let me find that real quick here.
It can happen pretty quick. I don't know. Baker Mayfield, that stuff's crashed down, substantially.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it can happen quick, especially with quarterbacks, just because, dude, with a quarterback, year 2 is you're supposed to make your leap. Year 1 is your mulligan. Year 2, you're supposed to make your leap. If you haven't done it by then,
and once you switch teams, that's a death sentence. Like, once you pull the Baker Mayfield, the first team gives up on you. There's no coming back,
So it sold for almost 18 grand.
His best card. Unequivocally his best card.
Exactly.
I don't think that there's no coming back. I think you just have to work harder to prove yourself.
No, he's not giving an opinion. Like, this is empirical based on how quarterback careers develop. Like, you get a few shots at best, and once you've left your first team, it's probably over.
Especially in cards, it's really hard to come back from like being someone that no one in cards cares about. It's hard. Like, people aren't just gonna give up. Like, Derek Carr's a good example. He's had a great career, but people gave up on him a while ago, and just nobody cares about his card values anymore.
Definitely.
Well, to be fair, there are like 2 people who care about his card value.
Yeah, there are people who care about Derek Carr card values, but not many. Yeah, this is the most interesting area of the market right now, is these quarterback prices.
But we've kind of seen it coming for the last couple of years. Like, it's been building up to this point.
Well, it went nuts this offseason in particular. Like, we know what this market has looked like as a whole. If I were to pull up the Card Ladder 50 right now, the Card Ladder 50 over the last year is down 14%. If we were even to look at football cards over the last year, their football cards are up 5% only over the last year. Now let me show you what the Josh Allen index looks like over the last year. This is
I know.
this is insane. This index is up 124% over the last year.
Oh,
Here's what it looks like.
my
It's just a rock climb to the top. This is Josh Allen's index over the last year.
Unbelievable.
So
I literally can't be more positive or assured of the fact that his market is going to go down during the season.
is that your lock for the year?
Yeah, that's my lock. It's going to happen. I don't like. And then the response is like, "But Darnold's going to be so good." I don't care. It doesn't matter how good he's going to be. It's too much growth. It's going to go down.
Yep. Okay. Good. Well, this is an ongoing subject of study that we'll talk about throughout the year. I have no doubt. All right.
Well, shouldn't we just be talking about the same old influencer topics over and over, or are we allowed to?
Well, here we go. Mad City Collector says, do you find yourself actively avoiding cards that you see influencers posting about? Logically, you would not talk about a card that you actually want to own before you buy it, unlike some people we know. Is that a shot at me?
That's a shot at you.
Why don't you show us that Christian McCaffrey index?
No, that's okay.
I mean, you already posted. Were you joking, or was that really where you bought?
Dude, that's when I started buying Christian McCaffrey cards. It was in the late summer of 2020, because that's when I was like, yeah, but a lot of the cards I like to collect have gotten way too expensive. So like, let me pivot to a cheaper guy, a much cheaper player. And then he got injured for 2 straight seasons.
Well, you know what I'm going to say then, right? You're not going to like this. You might want to cover yours. Christina will laugh, but isn't that the sign of a true influencer that once they buy it, that's the peak, and it's just going to go down from there?
Yeah, let's go. All right, so that's how we're going to spin this. Is that I single-handedly killed Christian McCaffrey's markets.
Dude, it's like well documented that a big influencer buys a card. That means the peak is in. I think I even posted that recently on something. It's like, oh, Star Jordan. Sorry, guys.
Oh, that's so true.
But like Star Jordan, right? Isn't that would be kind of the current thing right now?
I guess so. We'll see. There's another PSA 8 on PWCC right now. Not quite sure where that's at. Surprised PWCC still has time to do auctions, in fact, with all these lists. Very impressive.
Stop. We're not talking about that bullshit.
Very impressive. Oh,
Please don't stop.
hold on. Let's see. That's just a joke. Okay. The PSA 8 Jordan before buyer's premium is at $70K right now.
Didn't the last one sell for 115, right?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Still a little confused on the pop. This says population 4, but I don't know if that's. I don't know. I'm confused.
Yeah, I mean that's clearly why the price discrepancy is happening with the BGSA 5. I talked about this on Rob's show, Sports Card Therapist. Was like, people are rightfully being like, why the heck is a PSA 8 4 times the price of a BGSA 5? It's just because the pop, right, is out of whack right now. It'll eventually catch up and that price will come down.
And to answer the question directly, Mad City, I mean, we've talked about this before. But yeah, in fact, some influencers talking about a card, not only does that make me want to like avoid collecting it, but like it makes me hate it. It makes me viscerally hate the card.
Hated that.
Well, there's 100 cards you're about to hate then.
Dude, I think
What are you more sure of?
10 cards I hate. Isn't that the number that was on that list to begin with?
No, it's not.
What are you more? It's like 180 or something like that.
Wait, so it went from 180 to 100?
Yeah, or it was like.
That doesn't even make
yeah.
sense.
Well, you voted on the bigger pool. Ask Julian. He was there.
I wasn't asked to
Look,
vote.
Julian is an industry expert, recognized by his voting power on this list.
What are you more sure of? The Josh Allen market going down or the 84 Star Jordan going down?
Tie.
You're just like really sure of both?
Well, I'm not really sure of anything in this market, but if of all the things that are likely to go down, I think those two are at the top of the list.
Well, I'll call my shot. They're going down.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I think they both are equally likely to correct, as they say. All right. This is a very popular question from Drake's PC.
Oh, nice. I can't wait.
Drake's PC says, we constantly hear people in the hobby say, collect what you love or collect what makes you happy. When you look at their page, though, all you see is Tom Brady, Mickey Mantle, Michael Jordan, and LeBron. How do you differentiate someone collecting what they love purely for the love of that player versus someone collecting what they love purely because that player is highly valuable? I feel like people buy them more because they feel it's a safe investment and that they can make money off of them, rather than actually being a true fan of the player or the set.
Do we need to answer this? He nailed it.
He did nail it. The question answered itself. I love when that happens.
It's just really funny to me to hear the like genuine people in the hobby, the people we know and love in the hobby, in this community, they're like all at once kind of picking up on all these like bullshit lines that people feed them to try to like, you know, in one way or another, raise the value of their own collections. It all comes down to that. And you'll just, all these little tricks, these phrases people throw out at you. I'm buying to invest for 20 years. I'm not buying to flip. They say stuff like that, right? They say, collect what you love as long as it's, you know, exactly what I buy. Stuff like that. It's kind of funny to watch.
So, look, we've seen the investor pivot or the flipper pivot or the influencer pivot from base PSA 10s to, you know, GOATs, you know, oh, if you just collect 86 Fleer and the Kobe Topps Chrome and stuff, then you're safe, to pivoting to vintage, and vintage is the current play. What if the next play is just obscure random players from bullshit products and sets? Because
Right.
like that's the next end vote. I mean, what pivots do we have left? I don't know.
One of my favorite ones right now is that, yeah, all that other stuff, it should have gone down. Population, you know, like supply and demand, but vintage, that one is definitely safe. Like, you guys can trust me on this. All those other ones I said before were bullshit. Vintage is the true safe one. I always respond to them with like, didn't you say that about like Kobe, Jordan, LeBron, Brady? And then their prices went down after that pump. So if those guys are going down, then vintage is definitely, you know, susceptible to the same damage.
That's true. Ab Diesel says, he says, collect what you hate so it's easy to sell. Maybe that's the new movement, is collect what you hate.
I see where you're going with this. You're trying to push for a big Le'Veon Bell push in the market,
Let's go.
trying to get people to.
You know, one of these times I have to be ahead of the curve.
But to be real, to be clear though, the like $50 to $500 card right now is moving the hottest. That's like the hottest thing at the shows right now. That's what people are buying and selling. Because my hypothesis on that is that, I think you said this, you've said this a lot recently, the biggest draw to a in-person show is the art of the deal, is the buying, selling, trading. It's not this corporate thing. And what better card range to flex that with than like the 50 to 500, where you can like do it with less risk, you can have more fun, you can have more transactions, you can really like work that muscle. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes sense to me too. Makes total sense to me. Is it possible that, look, you know, to take a contrarian approach to Drake's question, I think actually, though, Brady, Mantle, Jordan, LeBron, those are the four that he mentioned. I think those guys actually do have far more fans and far more true collectors because of their fandom. I just don't want to cast too wide of a net here. There are definitely people who like have those four because they're safe, and then there's like they back their way into like, oh, I must love this player. but there's lots of people for whom it worked the other way.
Right. I like the way you said that. They backed into it. Like, all of a sudden, I'm a LeBron super fan because he's about to win the scoring title kind of thing.
All right. But very astute observation, as we can always.
Hey, did you guys hear Michael Jordan might be pretty good? I think I might start liking him a little bit more.
Yeah. Did you know he won like a dunk contest? I mean, whoa. Dude.
I think he has his own shoe line.
Oh, let's go. All right. Card Shop Dad says, what are your thoughts on the rumor of Fanatics buying Panini?
The new rumor, or the rumor that's been around for like 2 years now?
No, this is a new rumor.
This is a new rumor. Okay, because I've heard that rumor.
It's supposed to happen in like a month.
I've heard that rumor for a few months now. It seems like that would be good, right? Like, we don't have this like lame duck thing anymore. We can kind of shortcut this waiting thing of 3 or 4 years and just kind of get to going here.
Totally. It's amazing. I would love for it to happen. There's a few people who don't want it to happen, though. And it's those people who, like, wrote off Panini, thought Panini was done, a few breakers maybe, or people in the retail product space who just, thought Panini's over, and the Panini skeleton is reaching its hand from the grave and coming back. I certainly hope that Panini products and brands in particular, and the great people who work there, will be absorbed into the Fanatics.
Because of you're thinking about it in terms of like, if that happens, we still get Prism indefinitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What was the result of your poll again there, Guy?
Which poll? Topps Chrome versus Prism? I don't remember.
The same every time.
That was a while ago.
This was like today. I voted on it today.
I ran a poll today of Topps Chrome Superfractor 1 of 1 versus Prism Black 1 of 1. That's what the poll is today.
You can mask that question in any different format you choose. It's always the same result. 60 to 40 or 70 to 30.
Still early.
We're in the second inning of that poll.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Stacking Gems says, do you think that pop culture cards with huge intellectual properties, such as Stranger Things, have the most potential in the card market in the next 10 years? Zero Cool's booth was packed at the National.
Yes.
Okay, well.
Moving on, next question.
This is really not our type of question, but I don't know. We've talked about this in a different way, not necessarily like what's the next undervalued asset class. That's kind of the vibe I get from that question. But like, we have documented the fact that the hobby has become more, what's the word? Like parallels. Like, there's been more and more money moving across horizontally versus like more. We saw a point where it's like everyone's just buying basketball. But then it moved to a point where it's like tennis cards, soccer, F1, like we've seen all these different things pop up. And so to like have more continue to pop up over the next few years wouldn't be surprising. We've, Marvel and all this stuff. Like, it's been kind of an interesting thing to document.
Well said. And Christina is on the record as saying, yes, this is a really interesting area. And there are people who feel that way for sure. Okay. Go ahead.
I just want to expand on
If you go for more than 30 seconds, you have to come look at the camera because nobody just wants to look at two heads
that
do. Aren't talking.
You guys are both very handsome and they want to look at you. So, especially Lefko. So, I think that it has the biggest opportunity to grow in the market because it's coming in and bringing new people. Whereas, like, sports are, like, competing for the same collectors, I think. You're looking at a different market, therefore your growth is exponential. That's all I want to
say. Exponential. All right. Here's my take on this question. Be careful in analogizing anything long-term to sports. Sports have the very unique element to them that sports narratives evolve and maintain relevance through year after year. And there's new players who come in, and they reset or they challenge the established hierarchies of all-time greats. Sports are dynamic. They are news cycles. There's always exciting sports-related changes happening that impact and keep markets like the card market relevant. Being tied to sports is such an important part of the sports card market. It's such an important part to the energy and the excitement that surrounds sports cards. And guess what? Non-sports categories, entertainment categories, they don't have that proposition to the same extent. They do have new movies, they do have new IP that comes out, but they don't have anything that even closely resembles the dynamism that sports news, sports legacies, sports culture has. That's something that's very unique to sports cards, is that the sports news monster keeps on getting bigger and bigger and more important as more history gets piled on.
And can I expand on that?
Yes.
Not even just the sports, and you're talking about like the history that sports themselves have. Also, the sports cards themselves have history, where you can compare a Mickey Mantle rookie to a Mike Trout rookie. You can use pop reports, you can use pricing. You can actually, like, the reason that Trevor Lawrence cards are selling for 150 grand is because we have the backing and history of like what a John Elway or a Joe Montana rookie or a Tom Brady rookie card has, and like trying to compare the relative value and how iconic those cards are and the players. So like it's more than just the sport. We also have like a rich, deep history of sports cards.
Yep, agreed. In fairness to culture cards, there are some really interesting culture card sets with history too. Not to the same extent in sports, but like when we were putting together the Culture 51 index that was selected by Fanatics and Zero Cool economists, there was some cool cards that they put on here that I was ignorant of until they had us put them in. So like, here, I'll scroll through some of these cards very quickly. There's 1977 Star Wars. You know, that's a set that's getting pretty old now. 85 Garbage Pail Kids. But these are not the ones that I'm looking for. Like this. Like the 1966 Topps Batman. Like, yeah. This card is iconic. You know, this is the PSA 6. Not so great over the last year market-wise. But, you know, this is a card from 66, which is what, about 60-ish years ago. 1959 Three Stooges here, that's Larry. There was even some stuff from a little bit earlier too, if I remember correctly.
1940 Superman.
Oh, did I just go over it? Yeah. Oh, here we go. 1940 Superman from 1940.
I like this card a lot.
That's cool.
Yeah.
This a PSA 2. It goes for $3,400. Wow. What do the higher grades go for? Oh my god.
Oh wow. Is that 10?
7, which must be the highest graded, or the highest graded time of sale.
You know what they say, Chris? They say Harry Potter can't tear an ACL.
That's true. That's very true.
Take that to the bank.
Oh, I think somebody already has.
But those cards don't have like a more documented lineage. Like those are kind of a little bit more random. Whereas like we have the lineage of Topps baseball, Upper Deck basketball. Like it kind of like follows this yearly cadence that we can use as consistency to measure up against each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just sports cards, like, I feel like we can very easily overlook the things that make that market so unique and special. And we can get a short-term excitement for something that seems to resemble sports cards, but it's very difficult to have the longevity and the recurring interest that sports and sports cards have.
Plus, like, people that buy cards generally come into this market through like their nostalgia of sports cards as a kid.
Yeah.
Or I guess I kind of feel like it's Pokemon cards are similar, but like the stuff you're talking about is more comic book people, like people that come into that medium through comic books or video games, right? It's not necessarily the same type of person that would buy a sports card.
Right. Absolutely.
It does. It just like feels a little bit more forced when I think of it that way.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to push our median onto other like recently hyped pop culture things because cards are such a big thing.
Absolutely. And like in cards, there's a fantastic structure that allows for cross-generational, intergenerational comparisons. You know, we're able to say that because this new crop of players is, you know, especially like unproven players, is rising in value, that it increases the value proposition of cards of players from 10, 20, 30, 50 years ago because of where these players stand in relation to each other historically and where they stand in relation to each other culturally. And there's a lot of things that allow for a fluid market that has segments that can interact with each other and overlap. That's very difficult to replicate in the schematic fashion that sports cards has.
Yep.
Okay, next question is from mostly 90s basketball cards. He says, I was wondering this week who the 10 most collected basketball players of my lifetime are. And I think he's in his 30s. So he says, can you think of any way the card ladder data could be used to answer this question? Or just point blank, who do you think are the top 10 most collected players of your lifetime? And so here's his list. He gives his list of 10 in no particular order. Oh, I'm sorry. This is his list in chronological order. This isn't his 1 through 10. This is chronological order. Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, Kevin Garnett, Kobe, Allen Iverson, Tim Duncan, LeBron, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and Giannis. Who are you taking out or putting in, or what do you want to contribute?
I'd probably take Duncan out. It's a good list.
Yep. I think it's a solid list. It's maybe an exercise that's not best suited for this format. Midnight on a Friday or so, but I like the list. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd probably take out Duncan and put in like someone super modern like Luka or Zion or something like that. Or Ja Morant even.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like Ja Morant has way more collectors than Duncan.
Yeah. All right. Next question here from Jonathan Taylor Cards. Jonathan Taylor already has whole Instagram pages dedicated to his cards. That's amazing. All right. As someone who doesn't dabble much in basketball or baseball, you don't say, why is it that the most watched sport is sometimes the least collectible? I guess in a sense, I mean, besides quarterbacks, I feel like the football market doesn't get nearly as much love as basketball or even baseball. And I kind of wanted to pick your brain on this and see why that might be. For example, a set I love is Exquisite Football, the OG Flawless, and it gets almost no hobby love, while non-game affiliated patches will fetch a boatload.
Yeah, we've been talking about it a lot tonight, right? Like why is there this hyper focus in football on quarterbacks and like literally everything else is just completely left to the side, even relative to like secondary and tertiary football or basketball and baseball players? Why is that happening? It's a great question. I don't know. It kind of just seems like it's mostly to do with the fact that football is generally more, short window careers, and like it's really, really hard to kind of be consistent with it for a long period of time. Other than that, I don't really have any good reason.
I have a few ideas in addition to that. I think one of them is that outside of the quarterback, no one else is really permitted to be the star of the presentation of the sport.
Yep.
So, if you have a wide receiver who gets 10 receptions in a game, which is a high amount, those are probably the only times that athlete's on camera, maybe a few more times if they're involved in a drop or, but the quarterback is involved in every possession on offense and the camera focuses on them. Like, I think even if we've talked about this before, I think even if the camera moves so that instead of being this view from the side that just stays with the quarterback, if the camera came behind the quarterback so you could see the whole field of play, that you could then watch your favorite player more if he's not a quarterback. But I think the way the game is presented and how the quarterback is clearly the star of the show is a big factor there.
Yeah, and the fact that you even with your idea, you still can't even see their faces. Like, we don't even know what these guys look like.
And football gives you by far the fewest opportunities to watch your player play, especially at their prime. You have 17 games a season.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, if I'm like thinking about the nostalgic moments I have for Julio Jones, it's like 3 or 4 games. Whereas like Chris Paul and LeBron, there's just so many games that I've watched over the years of those guys, having fourth quarter battles and so on and so forth. And Julio, it's like, oh, he had that one good catch in the Super Bowl. It's hard for me to like really get connected to someone that just doesn't play very much.
100%. And what about Antonio Brown? How many nostalgic moments do you have with him?
I mean, more than most in football, mostly because of fantasy football, because that dude is a freaking – you could just put the tweet up if you want. But that dude is just such a monster. But even still, like, can you even name a single playoff moment of his?
No. All right, look, can I just read this? This is just great content. All right, this is straight from Antonio Brown's Twitter. And he put this picture of himself, and then he put a message with it. And look, we don't know, by the way, we don't know what prompted this, all right? Somebody must have said something or did something. So we're missing context here. But anyway, here's what he says. My biggest regret in my career does not...
Move it over a little bit.
What? Sorry?
Move your camera.
Where? So you can see the text?
Yep.
Okay. My biggest regret in my career doesn't involve calling my GM a cracker or showing up to Raiders camp late in a hot air balloon with frozen feet or throwing rocks at that UPS driver. And it definitely does not involve taking my shirt off and doing a victory lap around the Jets stadium mid-game while throwing up the deuces. I remember that, by the way. It was wild. My biggest regret is that I'll never get to see me, Antonio Brown, play a game live. Sure, I can watch the game afterwards, but I can't imagine what that was like for you all to see something like that. Like watching the Beatles or Jesus perform at Red Rocks.
He just compared himself to Jesus and the Beatles.
I mean, this is the content that the people need.
When I saw that, I was like, I'm going to miss this guy. This guy is just so amazing.
Something obviously provoked this. Somebody said, what's your biggest regret? And it just pissed him off.
Yeah, because he's supposed to have regrets. Like, he did something wrong, right?
Of those 3 things, what do you regret the most? And he was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
So
if I was Russell Westbrook and one of my friends asked me, what's your biggest regret? I would be like, fuck you, man. What's my biggest regret? Dominating the NBA, winning an MVP? Fuck off. What's my biggest regret? That I shot too many times? Like, what are you talking about? I'd be so defensive of myself.
Yes. In celebration of Antonio Brown, here are his career highlights and awards. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's a 4-time first-team All-Pro. He's a 7-time Pro Bowler. Twice he led the league in receiving yards. Twice he led the league in receptions. Once he led the league in receiving touchdowns. He has 928 career receptions, 12,291 yards. As a returner, he has 2,934 yards and 88 total touchdowns over his career. Josh, say a few words about the career of Antonio Brown.
He's the best receiver of the last 10 years. He's the number 1 fantasy receiver over the last 15 years. Like, that's really not even that close. He was dominant in fantasy football as a receiver. He was incredible. And he always had to deal with, like, Big Ben being injured, and he had to go through, just, like, crazy drama all the time with the Steelers. He had Le'Veon Bell, someone that was, like, on his team taking away production from the receiver spot because the Steelers were such a run-heavy team with Bell. Still led the league in all these crazy categories. You know what? Here's my takeaway. Why the hell did you lead off with Super Bowl champion? That's like a freaking afterthought for me in his career. I didn't even know that he won a Super Bowl. I guess you're right. He technically did with the Bucks, but like 4-time All-Pro is really his staple.
I only let off with that because that was the first one on the Wikipedia.
That's lame. That's like he had nothing to do with it, right? Like he had less to do with that than the others by far.
Agreed. Completely agreed. What do you think the highest selling Antonio Brown card of all time is?
He doesn't have a good rookie card, so probably low, man. Probably like $8,000 or something like that.
The highest selling of all time is his 2010 Upper Deck Exquisite Collection autograph out of 65 PSA 10, which sold 4.5 years ago for $2,000.
I overshot it by 4x.
Well, it was from 2018. I mean, $2,000 in 2018 is a very different proposition than $2,000 in 2022. This card has a card ladder value of $8,000 today. This is his 2010 Contenders rookie ticket, sticker autograph to be sure, a BGS 1010. All right, here's the listing. It was a BGS 10. It was sold through PWCC in 2018. It sold for $1,700. Has a card ladder value of $8,200 today based on Antonio Brown's index. So $8,000 actually was a really on the nose estimate, just because that's what this is his third highest selling card of all time, and that's about what his index base price projection puts this card at.
Yeah, that's the name selling for $8,000 today though. There's no way. He just doesn't have any good rookie cards, to be sure. Like, he just doesn't. That's what I was saying earlier about, like, people are dropping crazy money on all these Trevor Lawrence and Trey Lance cards because they're cool cards. There's, like, one-on-one rookies that you just can't get anywhere else, and Antonio Brown just doesn't have that. Not saying that he would sell for $100,000, but still, like, he doesn't have the chance to.
So this card is his 2010 NT autograph, PSA 10. It is a sticker.
And there's no patch.
There is no patch, and this is not numbered. Same with the Contenders. From 2010, his rookie year. This sold last winter for $1,325.
I mean, yeah. Also, like, he kind of came out of nowhere. He was a low-round draft pick. He went to Central Michigan or something. Like, kind of a out-of-nowhere player. So, like, he just wasn't in a lot of the rookie sets, you know?
All right. Next question here is from Ben X Crunner 1. He says, do you think we will ever have data available on collector base, how many collectors there are, how serious they are, what type of things they collect? Are they more into long-term versus flipping? That is, will we ever have segmented marketing data? Most serious industries have this data, and I believe if we had it, we could not only improve future product releases, but also make more informed buying decisions on singles.
Yeah, Fanatics would buy that data from you if you had that data. This would require like a census, right? This is really tough to gather kind of anecdotally on the internet. You have to kind of like have some sort of official survey or something.
Yeah, it's definitely a worthwhile project to undertake.
It's a project that, like, I've spoken with a bunch of hobby businesses and people, and everyone asks this question, and no one has tackled it.
You know who would be, honestly, like, PSA could take a pretty decent shot at it. How many customers does PSA have? What categories are people submitting for what value ranges and stuff like that? Because I mean, it's like, what other single, I mean, maybe Panini. What other like single hobby entity could you say with confidence, like, if you're in the hobby at some point or another, you had to have interacted with this entity?
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think there's plenty of collectors who don't grade. So I don't think that that's the end all be all. I think that will give us a good baseline for people of a certain like caliber of collector. But even that, like I don't think it's there. I think you have to do it through different avenues.
eBay.
Like,
is there anyone involved in the hobby?
Industry? I think you would have to pull like through the bigger companies in the different sectors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's people. You have manufacturers. You have the people who then sell the product to consumers and breakers, and then you have marketplaces, the eBays, PWCCs, the Goldens. You have the grading companies. They all have different local card shops. Like, it's a lot of data out there. All right. Ben Extra 1 follows up and says, I was thinking maybe Card Ladder could add a collector's score that takes the population count of a card and divides it by the number of times the card has sold in the last year, or include a multiplier if it hasn't sold in X years. I feel like that could give you a rough idea of how much collectors want to own a card versus continual selling for flipping or short-term investing purposes.
Interesting. Yeah, but then you're always going to have more sales in the more popular players, even though the more popular players would have more collectors. It's just really a money process. That's tough.
Yep, and like, I'm sure, Ben knows this, but if you wanted to do that calculation, like, we haven't built a tool that does it for you, but all you would have to do, like, here, I'm just looking at this 1989 Topps traded Ken Griffey PSA 9.
Top 7 billion.
Pop 45,000. Why did this card come up? Am I sorting by pop?
Probably.
Yes, I am. All right, let me sort by something else. Let me get like a more... Okay, let's look at this. The 1979 Topps Ozzie Smith PSA 9. This card has a population of 385. All right, so there's the numerator in your formula. And then to get the denominator, you just come over here, set the window to 1 year, number of sales, 26. So, the data that you need to perform that calculation, if you wanted to do it in like a one-off scenario, it's pretty easily accessible. So, all right. Frankie 3500 asks, what do you do when you feel stagnant with your collection?
This is a Chris question.
Why is that? You never feel stagnant with your collection?
No, I just, like, you've got good examples of what you did in the last year with, like, the McCaffrey and Le'Veon Bell. Like, you've made Jokic pivots.
Yeah, you can definitely pivot. I don't know, man. Collecting, to me, I've never tried to force it. I've never tried to, like, reshuffle the deck to stimulate my interest. It's been from day one, it's been an evolution. From, like, starting off narrowly focused on Michael Jordan, then that blossomed into a much deeper interest in the sport of basketball and the NBA. Then that blossomed into, an interest in other players who are active. That, in turn, rekindled my interest in, other pro sports, namely football, and then wanting to be involved as a collector in football as well. I've never felt stagnant in my collection. I feel the opposite. Sometimes I feel like my collection is just out of control. There's too many things going on. It's just, I feel like I wish my collection was a little more stagnant sometimes. Yeah,
I mean, listening to you talk about it, I think one piece of good advice you could pull from it is, like, don't force it. Just because, like, you feel like you're stagnant, you might feel pressured to, like, go buy something just to feel like you need to be involved or something.
Right.
I probably wouldn't force it. Like, something will come up you'll be inspired by something. You'll watch a game or a new player will pop up. It'll happen eventually, organically. It sounds like you never actually forced it. It just kind of happened. Like you started liking football more because we started watching it more.
Yep.
You liked Jokic because of, he just kind of caught your attention the last couple of years. It just happened, right? You weren't actively searching, PER rankings trying to like force your next collection.
No, it's so much better in my opinion, when it happens the other way, when you stumble into it rather than think your way to it. There's the last episode of Econ Talk. It was on this very topic of like, should we be using big data to make decisions, or should we make aspirational decisions? And the author basically broke it down into this dichotomy. You can either make rational decisions based on expected value, based on facts as you have them about yourself and your life and your preferences, or you can make aspirational decisions about who you hope to be and make decisions that hopefully those decisions will lead you to becoming what you'd like to become, as opposed to making decisions based on yourself as a fixed, static person. And so to me, I think the second way is a great way to approach collecting.
Yeah, this topic right here is also why I think, and you would agree probably, this like whole influencer thing is complete bullshit, because if you're being forced to go down a path of some other fixed thing or some other person, what they're telling you to do, you're never going to stick with it long term, because you didn't organically jump into that. You didn't actually like find your passion and interest in it on your own. You were told to go into it. And what do we know about that is that anytime that happens, you're just like, you're not going to stick around long enough. You're not going to care. Your only attachment to it is like if the value of it goes up and you're making money. Other than that, you're just going to bail. So like this desire to try to get people, this is why we never answer those questions direct. It's always like, we can't tell, and even the whole topic of like collect what you like, we can't even go down that path of saying that. You have to just completely let people figure it out on their own. It's completely organic. You have to be the one to find out. All we can do here is give you the tools of pricing, give you the tools of like our journey, how we came to it. Other than that, you got to figure it out on your own.
That's my favorite part of the show tonight, what you just said right there. All right, Card Shop Dad says, in your opinion, what's the best or the funniest or the coolest obscure personal collection that you've ever seen? Does anything jump to mind?
I really like Nonsense Name Cards, I think is his account. I've brought it up before. He just has like really interesting cards of all different athletes, and it's usually like it's not like an oddball card, but it's usually like not something you'd first think of for a given player, but they're usually cool looking.
Absolutely. Yep. We've looked at his page a few times in the past, and it's amazing. And he's got historical cards. He's got all types of stuff. You got any? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I want to hear what you got.
Okay. Well, this is not like the best answer, but it's fresh. It's on the top of mind right now. And this is from episode 1 of Card Ladder's National Series. I wonder if I can just like... Oh. Okay, so, and it's actually Pac Nicholson. It's like, oh, there's Josh drinking a Truly. Let's go. Oh, there's Charlie. What's up, Charlie? All right, so here we are talking to Pac Nicholson. And his collection was Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler gold refractors. There it is. All right. So he was collecting Jay Cutler cards. This was very amusing to me as a Bears fan. And that's what came to my mind was that, dude, Jay, this guy makes great memes, first of all. Second of all, he's collecting Jay Cutler. Can we say that's obscure? I don't know, but I just liked that. I like that there's a Jay Cutler collector out there.
The best Bears quarterback in the last 30 years. Maybe ever. Statistically, he probably is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And he was so close. We got to the NFC Championship game, and then he got hurt, and there's, there he is riding the bike on the sideline while Aaron Rodgers, of course we had to lose to Aaron Rodgers in the NFC Championship game. All right. Mad City Collector. See, this is a question that's asking us for like basically a business idea, which we don't give away, but I'll put the question out anyway. What inefficiencies in the market would you prioritize to get cards to collectors without money being lost to corporate entities or middlemen? A centralized search engine of cards available across multiple online sellers and auction houses, which we do have in Card Ladder.
I was going to say, like, he's describing Showcase and Shop.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's so true about Showcase. More direct consumer products. What are other inefficiencies that you might see? So he's concerned about cutting out the middleman, keeping as much money as possible into the pockets of the people who are owning and buying the cards. He's identifying those things that stand in the way of that as inefficiencies. Look, if we have like a home run idea on this, that's a home run business, so we can't just give that away.
The biggest inefficiency that exists, well, the best way to document who collects what and what like cards exist is Instagram, but you can't search the cards. So my solution for that, our solution was Showcase, where it's like it's the same kind of thing. You show your cards and you can search them. Search the title, search the player, search the variation, the grade, whatever you want.
Showcase is such a key but a dangerous feature. So
that's how you got in half your grails.
Showcase. Look, so if you come over to Card Ladder, you just hit Showcase on the left here. And then you can sort, I like to sort by date added because I just like to see, dude, people are just uploading cards to Showcase every day. And I just like to see the stuff that people just upload here, see what stuff's in their collection. If you see something cool that's in a collection, you can actually click. Oh, so this is like awesome. Oh, there it is. Nonsense name card.
I told you, man. I told you.
Right on brand. All right. So if I saw this, I was like, oh, this is a Jerry Rice, a cut above. By the way, better looking than the basketball one because they put the blades at the bottom.
More blades equals better.
Now I just click yeah, that is. So I can click on his name, and then I can see all his different collections. He has the 100 card case. That's interesting. He has Barry Sanders, which you get 89 results. I mean, I bet these are some badass Barry Sanders.
It's a Christmas tree.
Look at this, the Christmas tree card. Look at this, Christina.
I've never seen that.
Oh, that's really cool.
1999 Pacific Prisms ornaments.
I just found a new set for me.
See, and
these
are the rabbit holes.
Pacific is cool. Yeah.
These are rabbit holes that Showcase will take you down. And there's new cards every day coming into the Showcase. And then if you see something interesting, you can try your luck by pushing this button, and it's going to take you to that person's social media if they choose to provide it. And then you can, try to message them or work something out from there. So,
you like how I set that up? I was like, one of the best accounts of the most eclectic cards, and you just happen to run into his stuff.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, so I can just, if I'm not careful, I'll just scroll Showcase for hours.
It turned out the way that we wanted it to, right? Like it's kind of become, we just need more people on it, I think would be the only limiting factor is that not everyone's on it.
Sure. The more the merrier. Holy shit, we have a blockchain card. We have a blockchain card. And a big one at that. The Cade.
Look at me now, Mom. Look at me now, Mom.
Oh Lord. That is interesting.
Well, guess what? Now that card is in the Showcase in our database, I now own that card. It's in my blockchain. Thank you. That's how that works, right?
I don't know if this is like a physical match to the blockchain card or if it's just a straight up NFT.
They do have.
Well, it's mine now because it's in my blockchain.
It's all very confusing.
The Card Ladder Tech Showcase Database blockchain. Welcome. It's mine.
Is that just like a very epic troll?
Probably the person who uploaded that is trying to gotcha.
They probably were like, I wonder if Card Ladder guys will like look at this. Let me put it in here. You should search NFT and see if there are others.
Okay, I will. And look, like this is great. You know, like Wisco Sports Cards has like Caleb Farley pink from this year's Prism. I mean, there's all types of stuff in all ranges. It's just a nice browse. Okay, if I search NFT, I get one result. Thank God. Just this one. And isn't that like a big time NFT? That's the Optic gold vinyl 1 of 1 of Cade Cunningham. Like that's like a huge Cade card.
It's they put it as like the condition is encased. Did you notice that? Like because it's like encased in the text.
Okay. All right. Oh boy. Okay. We have lots of questions we didn't get to.
NFT es una mierda.
I don't speak Spanish.
Well, Rodman is requesting that we speak more Spanish on this show, so.
He would.
Parlo Italiano, Rodman.
I'm just looking to see if there's like 1 or 2 questions here. Oh, here's a question that allows us to illustrate the theory of expected value. So Card Shop Dad, one of the all-time great question askers of the crossover, he says, put your PC up against Nat Turner's PC and a coin flip for winner take all. Okay, so like Josh, you put your collection on the table, Nat puts his collection on the table. Flip a coin. You call heads, he gets tails. If it's heads, you take the entire table. If it's tails, you walk away with nothing. And Card Shop Dad says, are you flipping the coin?
Well, remember the lesson that we learned at the blackjack table, which is that when the odds are in your favor, that's when you go hard and you bet more and more and more and more, right? Doesn't that kind of apply here? Like whoever has the cheaper or the lesser collection or whatever, you'd be the one to
100%. The math says, the book says.
Well, so if the question was like more centered around like would you trade collections, that's when I get hesitant because it's like there's a reason that it's my collection because I handpicked these cards and they're mine.
Yep.
But in your game, I get my collection back and I get another collection. I get both. So this is kind of pretty good.
You just think about that's so right. You think about the expected value of it, all right? So let's say in a hypothetical world, I have a collection, just making this up, that's worth $100,000, all right? And then Nat has a collection, just making this up, worth $100 million, okay? Is having 100% of $100,000 better or worse than having 50% chance of 100 million plus 100,000? The expected value says the expected value of that coin flip is just a little bit more than $50 million. I have to do the coin flip. I have to do it. The math obligates me.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
The issue is that you only get one flip in this scenario, right? So you're risking it on a one-time chance. But you're right, like in a computer simulation world, you have to do the flip.
Right. All right. Townie Cards says a lot of talk about the dentist takeover. Yeah, that's right. But what about the lawyers? Are we giving the lawyers a pass? Well, there is Cajun Cardboard. Brian, who's a lawyer, a big-time, big-shot lawyer. You have Cage Lawyer from Luca Tigers and Bronze. You have Josh Adams, Midwest Collectibles, who's a lawyer as well. Yeah, these lawyers are looking like they're a problem as well.
In Cardboard Veritas?
Mission, too.
What?
Mission
Street? Oh, he's
in Cardboard Veritas is a lawyer.
In Cardboard Veritas? Say it ain't so.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Not a lawyer.
Yeah.
Oh.
We saved you from the official title of lawyer.
That's right. I went through the exercise, but I never fully became a lawyer.
Thank God Josh and I saved you from that path. Right at the end, too.
Look, God, you might as well be a dentist.
MXP Fernandez would like to know, is there a possible value increase and an increase in demand for NBA cards of players wearing the number 6 jersey?
Okay, I'm kind of upset with this, and Josh is probably going to hate this take, but LeBron hasn't worn number 6 for the Lakers yet. Therefore,
False.
he should not be
False.
grandfathered in.
Wrong. That's false. He wore it last year. You're wrong.
He wore
Really?
it last year, is what Josh says.
When? Like for the
This
whole
past
year?
season. Yes, he wore number 6 this whole last year.
Is he? What? I'm so confused right now.
It's okay. If
Okay.
your assumption was true,
Yeah.
then the rest would follow.
Okay, I still don't think, I think if the NBA retires a jersey number, I think no one should be grandfathered in. You should have to change your jersey number.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Because, if it was, 42, no one would say, well, Maxi Kleba gets to keep his jersey number. They'd be like, dude, change your fucking jersey number.
Oh,
no
so
one cares.
So your issue is with special treatment.
Yes.
Do you think you ever get special treatment?
I always get special treatment, and that's why it's wrong.
Oh! All right. What's your jersey number?
What do you mean?
What's your jersey number? What's your favorite jersey
understand.
number? Do you have a favorite jersey number?
77?
77. That number is, if they retire that number, no one's going to be pissed.
Why didn't they do this for Kobe Bryant?
Oh, no. You had to go there.
Well, I'm serious. Why is this? Bill Russell was obviously amazing, but why is this the first time this is happening? Why are we creating this precedence now?
It's a fair question.
What happened?
Is this the first time a jersey number has been retired league-wide?
I think so.
42 MLB?
That's Jackie Robinson.
So
the reasoning though is that, comparing Russell to Jackie Robinson, where he had a big off the court impact, is that kind of the thought here? Why not Kareem or I don't know. That just seems like, I get it. I love Bill Russell. This isn't throwing shade at him. I'm just confused as to why now all of a sudden we're drawing this line.
Yeah, it's odd. Because even if you were to say, well, this is a posthumous award, I mean, Kobe would still qualify.
Well, which jersey would you retire?
8?
Or 24?
No, I said 8.
Why?
Because that's his more iconic number.
Is
I
it?
think. I don't know. God. Okay. I'm not interested in debating that. With 24, who cares?
He chose to switch to 24 is the thought there is
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, 8, 24, why not retire 23? Let's go down this path. 6 is an important number. A lot of people would want that number.
A lot of people wear 6. Also, a lot of people wear 6. I saw that Miami, the Miami Heat, are now committing to, or reaffirming their commitment to retire the number 6. Oh, great. Now that the league has retired it, what are you guys doing? Just stop. You are.
Here's a take. I don't think we should retire any numbers in any team or any sport. It's just this. I get we're trying to honor people and stuff, but wouldn't you have more honor by reusing it and paying homage to still wearing it? I don't understand. I don't get this weird. This is some American thing where we just decided we're going to retire numbers. The Yankees.
It's not just American though, because Germany just retired Dirk's number on the German national team as well.
I would be why are you doing this? I want to see other people wear my jersey number. I don't want to not see my jersey number. If you play for the Yankees, you basically have 6 numbers to choose from, and the Celtics. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's the thing, right? If you keep retiring all these numbers, you're gonna end up with people playing with 100 and above, and then
I'm saying
200 and above. It's
go Google the retired numbers of the Yankees. Google this. Retired numbers by the New York Yankees. It's every number from 0 to 10 is retired. It's ridiculous.
All right, hold on. All All right, these are the Yankees numbers that are retired.
2, 3, 4, 5. It's dude, look at that.
1 through 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Told you.
6, 7, 8. 8 has been retired twice somehow. 9, 10, 15, 16, 20, 21, 23, 32, 37, 42, 44, 46, 49.
How the fuck? No offense to Paul O'Neill, but why the hell is Paul O'Neill's jersey number retired? That's insane. 21 is like a sick number. That makes no sense.
Here was a cool tweet that I saw not long ago, retweeted by the great Kirk Goldsberry. I made a chart on how many times each NBA jersey number.
Yeah, let's go. The data we need.
The data we need. Now, first of all, this was interesting. The numbers 58, 64, 69, 74, 75, 78, 79, 80, 82, and 87. These numbers have never been worn. These 10 numbers, no one has ever dared to wear terrible numbers. Okay, so let's see. Number 32 is the most commonly retired jersey number in NBA
11.
history. It's been retired by 11 franchises. Number 12 is the most common jersey number in NBA history. 421 times has the number 12.
Never would have ever guessed that, ever. I never would have guessed that.
No, I never would have guessed that either. It almost makes me doubt this list just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that's why Jordan wore that 12 jersey that one night. They're like, grab a random one. And they're like, we only have 12. That's the most common jersey.
Oh, you might be onto something there. Okay. So, anyway, I can't really, read this. I can't read what – it's too fucking small.
Am I on an island here with this retired jersey thing being ridiculous?
Well, hold on. First, let's just do this. The jersey number 6 has been worn 260 times.
Not anymore.
Oh, Lord. Not anymore. Okay, so are you – I don't know. I've never really thought about it critically. So as an issue of first impression in my mind, I have to say you have a point.
That's
look
silly.
what it's done for the number 23. You know, it's uplifted the number 23.
Yeah, I don't understand how not wearing it is better for it. It makes it worse. Dude, that Yankees thing is, laughable. Literally 1 through 10, gone. Derek Jeter just happened to slide into number 2 there nicely.
Right, yeah.
At a certain point, don't you, forget who originally wore it, because...
You're saying there's a risk. Saying there's a risk of anti-dilution.
I mean, there's a risk on both ends, right? Because people, kids now, they think 23 and they think LeBron. So LeBron has diluted the Jordan legacy of 23. But at the same time, you retired 23 across all franchises. No one ever wears it in 50 years. Does anyone think, there you go. I remember it was because of Jordan. No, they're going to be what the fuck?
All right, Josh, nice take. Christina, nice take on the jersey number topic. I think we may be pushing the public discourse in a new direction.
Dude, if you can make fun of kids, then I'm going to start bringing this up every time.
Well, that's right on cue for the last question of the show from John.
You're just waiting for me to cue you up. From
Jonathan Taylor Cards, a star of this episode, no doubt. Hypothetical question, Jonathan Taylor Cards presents. If you had an army of 10-year-old hedge fund baby hype beasts running at you with Pelican cases full of 4 to 5 figure cards, how many...
If?
Yeah, exactly. How many could you take out single-handedly? None. These kids... Have you seen these kids play basketball these days? I mean, these kids are...
These kids got security guards now. You're not going to be able to just get a clean shot at them.
That's right. And even if I was able to somehow, the security guards will block me. And I have zero confidence in my ability to do one-on-one combat versus these kids. I just think that these kids are advanced
Also, I'm pretty sure it's illegal to like take out anyone, especially a minor. Like, I think it comes with extra.
No, look
detail.
again. This is completely backwards. We need to be protected from the kids. These kids are advanced.
Take you out.
I'm just the messenger. All right. So the rest of this question is, and how soon, if at all, would you need to call for backup? Obviously right away. Oh, and the last kid has the 2016 finite 1-of-1 McCaffrey. Well, that card doesn't exist, although I'm sure a kid out there has it. But if you mean the 2017 rookie, I would just lay down and let that kid start kicking me and just ask for, just beg if he would sell me that card.
After he beats the shit out of you, then you can better call Saul and be like, you know what? Instead of me suing you, why don't you just hand over that card right now? We can
yes.
Avoid litigation. We can avoid all this crap.
Yes, that is a great theory. Except these kids are so smart. They wouldn't do it themselves. They'd send their other minion kids to do it for them, and then I'd try to sue them. And they'd have no assets.
Well, the joy. Go ahead.
The asset is like tied up in like an LLC or something, so like you wouldn't be able to sue them for it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The irony, the joy is not lost on me that after everything between you and these kids, we've now been cornered into a situation where you are going into one-on-one combat with them.
And losing.
And, well, that's a given.
Yes, I know. That's why it's not even a fair question. If you ever see me at a show just sprawled out on the floor, you might want to help me. Do not. Just go the other way. Just leave me. Save yourself, because these kids have woken up and realized their full power.
Is there anything that you can, best a kid at other than, a contest of who's older?
Even that, I somehow doubt my ability to beat the kid.
A birth certificate contest? You'd lose that?
I mean,
I hear they're excellent forgers too, so they probably have one.
Yeah, I suppose I could win that. I could win an age contest. I could win a less hair follicle contest. Other than that,
maybe some sort of cholesterol contest.
Yep, I could win that. I could win the contest of who's closer to death. All right, I'm feeling a lot better about this kid situation now.
Yeah, see, look, you can best them at some things, just not anything that you want to best them at.
No. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I just need to change my desires.
Yeah, I think you need to lower your expectations of yourself relative to other kids, and
I didn't think they could go lower, but maybe they still can.
Well, maybe you're taller than most of them.
Josh, I need a name for this show. I usually
Cucumber. Cucumber.
Oh boy! All right.
That was a popular one at the beginning.
Lefko said you should call it Cucumbers in the Box.
Yeah.
How'd the box get involved?
Because the 86 Fleer box.
Oh well.
Or just Lefko, Simp, and Chris.
Yep. I mean that happens every week, but
should we give
follicles?
Them
Follicles
want so badly?
Does it have to be one word?
Is what one word?
Does your little contest, your little game here have to be no?
Not
Okay.
at all. We had a very popular episode recently called "Bring Your Crypto Dick Butts" that actually ended up surging that market.
You could have written crypto dick butts. That's a one word. We got around it with these little NFT shit beast is one word.
But we should never name an episode after another NFT because it just ends up making the value skyrocket.
Is that real? Are you joking? Is that real? Did that actually go up?
Oh, it's up 7x since that episode came out.
Dude, I keep seeing all these big companies partnering with doofuses, trying to get their viewer counts up with these, influencers, and here we are, just little old us, talking about crypto dick butts and making the market soar. So, who's really the influencer?
Facts.
Dude, don't even get me started on this bullshit, please, Josh.
I just need a title for the episode. Are you gonna
Cucumber?
Cucumbers? Do you like cucumbers?
I like cucumbers.
You like
cucumbers? Is that even real? Did I just completely make that up? Isn't that something you do? You put them on your eyes when you're like,
Absolutely.
To depuff them.
Yeah.
What's the stuff that you put on? What's the green stuff that you put on your face when you're?
Face mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. You put.
Is that you use that with the cucumbers in combo with that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a spa treatment. You put on like you get a facial or like a mask.
Cucumber
and
lotion.
then cucumbers on your eyes.
But is there such thing as like cucumber lotion? Of course there's cucumber lotion.
How many times in those 3 nights that Chris was MIA from the show was he wearing cucumbers over his eyes when you came back to the room?
Every night.
3.
There you go.
And he had my face mask on as well. Like he put face masks on as well.
Only on the crossover do we end with Google images of whatever that is.
Cucumber water.
That's not that's cucumber lotion.
It says cucumber water right there.
You know what's going to happen now?
Lotion. It's not.
It says cucumber water.
Like you don't drink it.
How do you know? Maybe you do.
Because, oh my god.
Yeah, you do, right? Like in those fancy, like big, like glass things where, you know, it's got those are cucumber water.
Yes, cucumber water is a thing, but that's not cucumber water. That's cucumber water lotion.
Cucumber water is very prestigious.
Also, aren't cucumbers like a pretty phallical
Yeah, but that
vegetable?
was a joke.
Cucumbers? I don't know why you would say that.
Well, we got crypto dick butts, we got shit beasts, now we got cucumbers.
Cucumber NFT markets. Keep an eye on them.
Well, the supply of cucumbers is about to dip a lot. We're going to be going to the stores and buying up all the inventory.
Leave the cucumbers, please. Leave the cucumbers. All right, we'll see you guys next time.
We're reaching the top.
A lot has changed since Card Ladder began. We started with 500 cards in our database, and now we have over 3 million cards and over 30 million sales.
For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
With Card Ladder's sales history feature, we have virtually every card in our system. If the card you are looking for ever sold on one of these platforms, you can find it using Card Ladder's sales history, and you can add a card to your collection with just one click.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Plus, every card, no matter the last time it sold, has an estimated value that we calculated using our state-of-the-art player indexes. Unlike other apps, when you see Card Ladder's verified checkmark, that means a researcher personally vetted each and every sale.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
We know what you want, because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors.
Know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Join the innovators, not the imitators. Card Ladder 2.0, constantly innovating. Try it for free. See why Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Card Ladder 2.0.